Hello?
Hello?
Oh my god, where have you been? I have to tell you something.
Girl, bring it. I'm ready.
Welcome to the Call Me Later podcast, where we will cover the personal, the popular, and the peculiar. I'm Loretta Rolonge.
And I'm Annie Steinberg. And you've now been dialed into our weekly call about relationships and dating,
pop culture and lifestyle,
and friendship and community in the city of Medellin.
No, you need to call me later. Hello? No, pero llámame ya. Hey, call me later.
On this episode, we'll be covering who should pay on the first date, Amy Griffin and her memoir, The Tell, and is smoking really that bad for you?
I have had arguments about this with many people because obviously it's a topic where people will disagree. Personally, I will stand by it 10 toes down, 10 fingers down. I'm on all fours right now of how much I'm standing on it.
You got all your digits on the floor.
All my digits are down. Yeah, exactly. I think heteronormative, I can't pronounce that word. I've said it many times and I can't do it. Relationship, if a guy and a girl are going out on a first date, the man has to pay. That is my consensus. I am sorry.
And you are entitled to say that. You are. I will say that probably for the duration of this conversation, I'm only going to talk about heteronormative.
It's a hard word.
No, it's a hard word.
Yeah.
It's a hard word. We're only going to talk about heteronormative relationships. I do date women. Correct. It's a different subset of rules.
Correct. Yeah.
It's just different. I am someone, and I'm sorry, but I think when you go on a first date, you should pay for yourself. I said it. I'm sorry, God. I said it.
We're gonna have a fight.
No. You should pay for yourself.
It's fine.
And let me tell you why.
Yes.
Let me tell you why you should pay for yourself. Now listen, I'm saying that you should pay for yourself. I'm talking to myself. Loretta Rolonge.
Okay. Same.
I am paying for myself. If you want to be paid for, sis, slay, of course. But the reason why I pay for myself is this. As we all know, we're 5 episodes deep. I'm a man hater. Listen, I can hate a man. Baby, I can hate a man.
If you don't know that Loretta hates a man and loves a Facebook, then honestly, where have you been? Where have you been this whole time?
Listen, I can hate a man. And my problem is this. I don't know. I've gone on a date with you. We've gone to La Putanesca Fusion. We've gone to, I don't know, another bougie restaurant, El Cielo. We've gone somewhere, right?
Sí.
We've gone somewhere really nice. And just because you pick up a little 200,000, 500,000, just because you pick up a check, if you come and tell me, oh, but I paid for dinner, don't you want to give me something in return? I am going to kill you. I'm going to kill your mother. I'm going to kill your abuela, bisabuela. What's the one that comes? I'm killing everybody. Because I cannot hear that. I'm going to
challenge this and say that you should be killing his father, his grandfather.
That's true. Actually,
that's true. Yeah. I'm going to kill your whole fucking male lineage that led to this point.
And Annie, I don't know if you know how common that is. And I'm not talking about Medellin. Listen, solo soy una extranjera. No. I am from London.
The world that we're in.
I'm talking about the world. That men will choose though. But like I paid for you, you'll get videos of men going, as the bill's coming, they bring over the bill, and then the guy looks up at the girl and goes, am I getting some? And if the girl goes no, he's like 2 separate checks. Have you not seen this? This is the thing. And listen, let it be 2 separate checks. In fact, baby, 100%. I'm going to pay for you. You can be my papa, I'm going to pay for you. Because you're not going to treat me like that. And I think that's where it comes from.
Okay, so I actually have like a very kind of like strong feeling on this where you asked me out and I don't owe you anything in return. Like I think the premise of a first date, again, in the context that we're talking about, first, I don't want to hear about anyone being like, well, my husband is, I don't want to fucking hear it. We're talking about a first date. Like, don't come to me with like, I like to support him. I treat him. Shut up. That's not what this concept is. First date, you go out with this person. I think personally, again, if you're inviting someone out, that's a big part of like that's a big part of like the marker of like who's paying. Typically, again, in these contexts, it's most likely the guy is asking the girl out, right? So number one, you're putting the idea of going out together on the table. Thing number one. Thing number two, me agreeing to go out with you to something that is a date doesn't mean that I have to fuck you, doesn't mean that I have to blow you, doesn't even mean that I have to kiss you. Do I think that a first date is unsuccessful if we didn't kiss? Typically. But this is kind of like where I stand in that, you know, you don't have to do any of these things for a guy. If you're so inclined, why not? But the date and the going out does not kind of like set the parameters that in return, I have to do this for you. So that's like my second thought there. And finally, I think when you're proposing a date, and it's happened to me also in the context of like somebody that's maybe like new to the city, doesn't know the place as much, or is kind of like trying to feel out what I want to do, I like to tell them, well, what about this place, or this place? I'm giving them range, you know, like chill. Yeah, like a tiendita, little chill bar, el social. Are we having beers? Are we going to like a bougier place? Are we having cocktails? Are we going out for dinner? You know, some guys just want to have a coffee and like walk in the park. I don't like walks in the park personally, you know, but if that's your idea, then I know kind of like what your budget is. I think if you're asking somebody out, you have to be kind of like conscientious of like, I am able to afford this date for both of us. Because I also wouldn't like to be put in a situation where like somebody takes me to a super bougie restaurant and then they're like, okay, well, like you pay your half. No, my man, sorry, I didn't come out for this. That is kind of like the general way that I look at it. On top of that, Loretta, the amount of typical work that it goes into going on a date for a girl versus a guy is very different. It's very different. I, thank God, long ago lasered everything that had to be lasered off my body. But some girls are waxing. You know, if you're getting your nails done, are you getting your hair done? Are you putting on makeup? Are you doing, you know what I mean? And like a guy will likely have a shower, if anything, and put a nice shirt on. You can't compare. You can compare. I'm sorry, but you're paying for those drinks.
Okay. So 50 Cent went on the Conan O'Brien show, I think. And then it might have been Conan O'Brien. It might have been Jimmy Flannel. What's his name? Jimmy Kimmel.
I can't remember, but there's another one.
It's Jimmy Kimmel.
Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon. Fuck. So he went on that show and then they asked him, one of those shows, and they asked him who pays. And then 50 Cent said what you said. Whoever asks the other person is the person who pays. Sometimes, you know, 50 Cent with his big stature and he's, you know, his various businesses, his various TV shows, his vodka.
I mean,
he was like, sometimes women will ask me out and I will expect the woman to pay. And I don't know what the problem is. I think the problem is that maybe I'm European or maybe I'm a Tacania. Okay. It could be a mezcla of both of those things.
Either one.
They could be both of them. Because, first of all, I'm not going on a you.
Oh, yeah, you don't do first date dinners. That's right.
I don't do dinner.
Yeah.
Maybe, quizás, I'm going to go for a lunch. Maybe.
Okay.
But most of the time, I'm doing drinks. I'm doing coffee. Because again, if I need to get out of there, no. It's because if I need to get the fuck out of there, I don't want to hear anyone coming over to say, oh, so like, would you like to hear what our desserts are? If I grab you, I will kill. I want to leave. if I grab you, because if I'm not enjoying myself, I just want it to be over. I want to finish my drink and go, bye. And I think I have, when I did date, that was something that was incredibly, incredibly important to me. It was that. You're not going to catch me at a dinner. Second date, sure. Gotcha. Of course. Gotcha. I've assessed if you're crazy.
Like, I'm willing to stick around longer and, like, get to know you a little bit more. Instead of just kind of, like, wanting a quick out. What happens if your, let's say, cocktails first date is going great? Do you stick around for, like, more drinks? Do you look for a second location?
Yes, I would. If it was going well, I'm going to get another drink.
If we change locations, like if we're having like one of those amazing dates and we just want to keep the night going and we change to another location, that's where I'll likely pay. Like the first part of the date, I'll play. But if you take my money, I'm like, you're dead to me immediately. You know, like the date is over. But for a second, you know, like if we go from like one bar to another and we have like, you know, let's have 2 more beers or something, then I'll offer to pay. And I'll insist. I'll be like, no, let me get this one. Because like at this point, clearly, if I'm continuing the night with you, I like you enough that I'm willing to like put some money into it. And I don't want that dynamic of like me just taking the whole time, right? In that case, I will pay a little something.
So the difference between dinner and drinks for me also is that I am not putting in that much effort. Like for drinks, I am not going to wax my body for Juanito from Tunja. I'm sorry.
Perfect.
But I'm not doing that. Like I'm literally not doing, and I think that's where it comes into as well. I also don't wear makeup. I wore makeup last year in September for the first time in literally 8 years.
Oh
So I don't wear
wow, no
makeup.
way.
I don't wear makeup ever.
Uh-huh.
Literally, I
And
was
I mean,
in
you have amazing
Sephora.
skin.
I know, genetics. Thank you. And so I think it's stuff like that. I'm gonna shower, of course. I'm gonna smell well. I'm gonna wear my I'm gonna
Right.
wear my oud from the Middle East.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I'm gonna leave my house. Like I'm gonna leave my house in like 15
Okay.
minutes.
Okay. Okay.
So, and if I had braids
that
in,
makes more
even
sense
less
as well.
time. Yeah. Like if I
Right,
had
right,
braids
right,
in, I'm
right.
not even doing my hair. Like I'm gonna,
Yeah, it's done.
fluff
You're ready.
it's over. And so I think it's that
Mhm.
as well. And I think my issue is I do want to be with someone who's generous. So it'd be interesting to be with someone who would say, "Oh, I'll get this. I'm never gonna let you get
Mhm.
it though, ever. Like ever in a million years.
Interesting.
Like ever. Like ever. Like
Okay.
like ever.
Like never
The only
ever.
time, the only time, the only time I have ever let someone else pay on a first date is
Yeah.
when I went on a date with a couple. That's the only other time
Okay,
where
girl.
I let the couple
This needs to
pay.
be a whole episode.
That's a whole, we're not
This
even going to
needs to
get
be
into
a
it beyond
whole
that.
episode.
But that's a
No,
whole
no,
other
no, no.
episode. That's a
Yeah.
whole other episode. But that was the only time where I said, okay, because I was kind of young. They were a little bit older than me. I'm young as in of age. I was over 21. Everybody please relax.
No. And like 2 versus 1 sort of thing. Like
exactly. And so
Yeah,
with that, and again, I went on this date expecting to pay for myself. And I was very pleasantly surprised where both of them were like, listen, no obligations. We're going to pay. I was like, maravilloso. Amazing.
Okay, great. Okay. Yes.
And so I'm not totally against it. And also, okay, here's my question for you, Annie.
Uh-huh.
Do you believe in the guy paying from now till kingdom come? That's my question for you.
I do think that's like a whole other conversation. Because I do have friends that are 100% on that boat and they're like, I don't know, a cent into this relationship or even the life that they're building. You know, they will not pay for groceries. They will not pay for hydro power, any of that stuff. And that's a choice. I don't think I'm there. I don't think that's my style. We've talked a little bit about like trad wives and like the dangers of that sort of stuff. This is not necessarily being a trad wife, but I think the economical disparity can be a little dangerous. So I do not expect to be paid for everything, right? But I do think, kind of like what you were saying about generosity, I do really appreciate generosity. I'm a very generous person. And I think that stingy people can be stingy everywhere. And I think budgets vary, right? So like I am not judging you based on your budget, but I'm like judging you based on kind of like your effort and how much you're willing to do or not do. And I think that there is kind of like a stinginess personality sometimes that will transfer into many other things. It will transfer into whether you're willing to come get me if you have to get out of your way or not, you know? It's going to transfer into like how we have sex and like, are you a giver or just a taker, you know? It transfers over into like how we put time into each other's projects and like passions. And do you come to my events only or do I only have to go to your work things? I think there's like a little bit of that like really like translates into their whole personality, which I'm very wary of. Like, again, I love generosity because I do think it's a part of like, it's a bigger personality trait. And I like to recognize generosity beyond, again, budget. Like if you only have 5,000 pesos and you tell me like, I don't have any money right now, but like, what about a bonbon and a bottle of water? I'm like, that sounds kind of sweet, you know? But like, I just don't like, no, for real. Like I went on a date one time where we had beer and chocoramo, and I was like, how did you know all my favorite things in one day? Like I was very impressed. I was like, this is like great fucking date. I'm not the kind of person that is expecting to be taken to an expensive restaurant. And I think a big part of that is because I can take myself if I want to. So I don't need a man to pay for that experience. However, if you're asking me out on a first date, you are paying. I had this one date that I went on with this guy this one time. First mistake, Loretta, if I may say, the guy on his profile said he was 1.78 meters. I don't know how much that is in feet and inches. So
he's probably like
5'8", maybe.
He's probably 5'8", maybe 5'7".
Okay,
yeah.
And I am 172 on a tall day, 169 on a short day. I will not explain any further.
Okay.
So this man shows up and we're the same height. And I was like, you better believe that I did not grow and I am not 178 all of a sudden. So first of all, he lied about his height, which I thought was like, I was going to murder him, but that was, bad enough. And then second of all, before we met, because I knew he was new to the city, I gave him the option. Same thing that I mentioned before. Like, we can go to this place and this place and this place. He chose, and like, we have the internet, Loretta. If you're like going out on a date, look at the menus. Like, all of these things are available online. Look at the reason why I chose the ones that I chose was because after that we were going dancing to this other place. So I wanted us to be close by because it was kind of rainy. So I didn't want us to have to like walk in the rain for a long time. So I gave him those options. I explained why I was choosing those places. He chooses one of the places. We get to the place. We're, looking at the menu and he's like, oh, wow, like cocktails are really expensive here. They were 40,000 pesos, which is pretty average in like Medellin standards, I would say, for a cocktail.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, like I didn't realize that you had chosen like such an expensive place. And I was like, chosen? Like I gave you options because you told me you didn't know where to go in the city. So I gave you options. You chose this place. And then he was kind of like being like whiny and whimpery about it. And so I was like, okay, like there's like $12,000 beers. We can have a beer. And he's like, oh, yeah, that would be great. Thank you. And then by the time the bill came around, obviously he paid. And obviously at that point I was like, you're definitely paying, especially after like your little like show. But I do believe that it is entirely on the guy / inviter. If you're the girl that's inviting, show off a little bit and be like, no, this is my treat because I wanted to take you out today.
Okay. No, I know what you mean. I understand what you mean. Also, because I guess I need to challenge my perspective and think that if a man is going to disrespect you, he'll disrespect you regardless of whether or not he pays for dinner.
Completely.
That's true. That is 100% true. I think it's just that I perhaps come from a culture and perhaps even a subculture, because the Nigerian side of me stands with you. I am your sister in Christ, in love, in everything. Like,
I can imagine,
you are meant to, that is a sign of a good man in Nigeria. Oh, he bought this, he paid for this. Nothing about he's kind, nothing about he eats my pussy well, nothing like that. It's just, what did he pay for?
Yes.
That's all they
what
care
are our benchmarks here?
Exactly. Whereas I think the other side of me is that as someone who has worked so hard to achieve so many things that I have, I just can't hear shit from a man, Annie. I can't. And that's my problem. And maybe it's the men that I was dating. Because also, no one has ever said that to me. I just never gave them the chance to. But I think it's almost perhaps an irrational fear. An irrational fear that I probably need therapy for. I think I probably need therapy, maybe even MDMA therapy.
And that's why we're here today. Oh, MDMA therapy, Loretta. Have you heard about this fabulous new method that is out there? I don't know how new it is, but girl, do I have some gossip to tell you. Again, let me stamp a huge allegedly before this whole section. Because this is not a journalism podcast. None of this has been thoroughly researched. I have heard it on a podcast. I have heard it on a TikTok. And I kind of opened an article so I could get the names right. That is all you're getting from me. But this gossip is so juicy. Are you ready?
Please. I need to know everything right now.
All right. So Amy Griffin, who is she? I don't know. Basically, she's rich. She's very, very rich. I think she sits on the board of the Met. Very like important, well-known person in the media, right? This lady published a book. The book is called The Tell. The Tell is a memoir, and it has been sold and promoted as a memoir and as like a nonfiction book, essentially, right? Part of the story of what happened in this book is that she did MDMA therapy, and through this therapy, apparently she came in contact with some repressed memories of abuse in her teenage years or during the time that she was in school. So far, so good. So far, I mean, terrible that happened, but so far, so good as a story. It's been, many celebrities have endorsed it. They say that it's a beautiful book. They say that it's amazing. The way that I think the story continues, and if I'm wrong, I don't know, you look it up for yourself, but this is how I think it went, is that the New York Times caught wind of the fact that her husband, also billionaire, rich, whatever, had been heavily investing into MDMA therapy, which is what she talks about in the book. Which you could say goes in two directions, right? Maybe they were so amazed at the fact that it did so much for her that they want to invest in it. Could be. Or you could say that the reason why they published this book and talk about this alleged MDMA therapy is so that it becomes popular and common enough that people are so much more familiarized with it once it starts rolling out, and people will want to do these types of therapies, therefore investing into the thing that this man has invested so much money into. So essentially, the New York Times starts allegedly, investigating into this. And they come to realize that there's a character in her book. In the book, I believe she's called Claudia. where she says that this girl went through like the same abuse she did back in school. They managed to track down who Claudia is, and it's this lady working in California for, I believe, like $21 an hour. So as you may imagine, very different lives to the one that Amy Griffin ended up having. And what they did is that they kind of like started poking around, seeing what type of like relationship they had. Turns out they hadn't spoken since high school, but she was approached by Amy Griffin not too long ago. And of course, she was excited to like, you know, meet up with like this old classmate. They go out for like coffee or something like that, I think. Essentially, what they claim is that allegedly through this encounter, Amy was able to corroborate that this alias Claudia person was the right girl that she remembered from high school, right? Following this encounter, randomly, Claudia gets a call from a talent agent saying that they have come to hear that she has a great life story, a very interesting life story, and that they would like to use the rights of her life story to either create like a Lifetime movie or a book or something like that. So she starts going through a process of phone calls. They offer her money for this, of course, and it's obviously a significant enough amount of money that is very interesting to somebody that's making $21 an hour. She starts telling their story, obviously with the hopes that these people are gonna put the work in to sell her story. We continue. Allegedly, she reaches out to a lawyer when it's coming to the time of like signing to sell the rights to her life story, which she has told these people already in full detail, and they go missing. They don't exist anymore. They're impossible to track down. These people essentially ghost.
Really?
Perfect. Really, really weird thing to happen, right? Loretta, like somebody calls you, they want to hear your life story, you give them everything, and then when you're ready to sign, they don't exist anymore, right? I'm not sure exactly how much time goes by. Let's say maybe like a year or two or a couple of years. And a book is published with her story in it, claiming Amy, the author, that she did an MDMA therapy and remembers all of the stuff happening to her that actually happened to Claudia.
You're saying that Amy stole Claudia's
allegedly
story.
Correct. I'm so scared of these people. Allegedly, Amy stole Claudia's story, and so now Claudia is suing for the rights to her story again. The publisher of the book is saying that it's not on them to fact check, so they don't have to fact check a memoir.
What?
Which I think is like a little interesting, right? Especially if you're publishing something that, if it's a fiction book, I mean, I guess there's not much you can do. But if you're publishing something as your own memoir, some work could have been done, I assume. But they literally washed their hands off the whole situation. They were like, it's not on me. And Amy's lawyers have come out to say something to the extent of like, this person is lying, which was also interesting because in the book, Amy talks about how Claudia was also assaulted. The lawyers could have framed this differently. I heard this like on one of the TikToks where it was like, they could have been like, we're so sorry these two women were like victims of abuse, whatever. But it remains the fact that like, this is Amy's story to tell, whatever, right? But they were just kind of like, no, this woman's a liar, period. Even though the book says that she also went through it. So it's all very kind of like convoluted. It's all very dirty. And it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. It's not done. It's literally just happening as we speak right now. And we're eventually going to find out about who wins this case, I guess. So we'll definitely have to come back to it. But what do you think, Loretta, about this one? It's a little juicy, right?
So the first thing I want to say is that the people at the New York Times are big bad bastards. That's the thing that they're known for. They are so fucking sneaky. Like,
okay,
my girl Amy is just trying to get a bag. You know, I'm already a billionaire. I'm trying to exploit my fellow person
to get a thicker bag.
Yeah. I'm trying to exploit someone. Let me exploit them in peace. New York Times. Those people have too much money and too much time. And second of all, I thank them for continuing to do God's work. Because Amy, what the fuck?
What the actual fuck, right?
Like, you have plenty of money. You literally have plenty of money. And this is why you have to be scared of people who want your life. I do not have as quote unquote interesting of a life as Claudia. I'm going to use interesting. Traumatic is also there. Scarring, upsetting. My life isn't as interesting as hers. You know, sometimes you'll meet someone who you can just see, if they could kill you, get away with it, and just take your life, they would.
Oh, they would.
And
100%.
Those are people you have to be, because you're telling me, Amy, with all of your billions of dollars, hun, I'm literally speechless, because there are so many other things that she could have done to have made money. And you chose
ridiculous.
this.
And like, if you want to write a memoir, also, she did have a ghostwriter. So it's like, it's not even like she wrote this whole thing. Like, she has a ghostwriter also. hire a ghostwriter and be like, make up whatever you want. Make up whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like, if you're already gonna tell a lie, make it up. Why
Yeah,
particularly
make it a fiction
choose
story.
someone else's lives? You know, no, but like, if you want to lie and say it's a memoir, say it's a memoir. Like, how are we gonna know? But it doesn't make sense in my head. Like, why would you actually like go after the memories of somebody else? Like, let them have something, you know, or talk about their story and like make it a part of your story somehow with due credit, you know? It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. And I think some people are vicious. And it's so hard. We've talked about this before. I think like off mic. It's so hard to believe anything these days. Like, you literally don't know if anything you're being told or sold or anything or pushed your way is like true at all.
You don't get to know. And I think that's what's so unfortunate about our current lifestyle. Like, when I was telling you just before this about the woman who posts fake Reddit stories so that she can then make TikToks about them. I don't understand what's wrong with this subgenre of human being, because I can't imagine what's going through your mind. And this poor woman, Claudia, do you know what it probably was? Do you know what it was? Because I'm an expert on this situation that I just heard of for the first time ever 10 minutes ago. The reason it's because Amy said, Claudia's a no one. She's never coming after me. Even if I get caught, nothing's gonna happen. Blah 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 blah. And Annie, I think that's a mentality a lot of people have. Like,
oh my god, 100%.
Look at. I'm not the biggest fan of Cardi B. Please, I'm allowed an opinion. Nobody come for me. I'm allowed an opinion. But
fair.
I'm not, and I didn't say there's anything wrong with her. I just said I'm not the biggest fan. That's all.
Okay.
But you remember
we've respected this so far.
But remember last year when that security guard then threatened nothing, sued Cardi, who was pregnant at the time, who said Cardi B beat me up, blah 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 blah. And then Cardi B was like, when she won the verdict, Cardi B said, I had to show the world I'm not one of those celebrities that is just gonna settle. So you're gonna start bringing a lawsuit to me for any little fake thing. Gwyneth Paltrow was a different one. Paltrow's
the ski
one,
thing,
with the ski thing, which was probably the most,
and I think for like $1.
So she countersued him for $1, and it was the most upper middle class lawsuit literally ever.
I love it.
But it's because he skied into her, but then he went, nah, it's time to get my bag.
Like, you ruined my vacation, okay?
No, honestly.
Outstanding.
And that's the thing with these people. They go, you're not going to come after me. This and this. And that's why it's important. It's why it's important to
It's the principle.
Exactly.
Yes, I totally agree. I totally agree. Absolutely.
No, it's 100% the principle. Like, I just don't understand. No, I do understand. I understand perfectly. People are greedy. And I need to stop. Sometimes I feel like perhaps I'm naive, because sometimes I'll see something like this and I'll go, but why would you do this, Amy?
Yeah.
Like, literally, why?
Yeah.
But like, it makes sense why. It makes perfect sense why. She wants more money. And this is what I can't understand. You already have
so much
$1 billion.
Yes.
You already have so much money.
Yeah.
What? You couldn't even spend that in probably 3 lifetimes, honestly.
Yeah.
Unless you're lying to us also about being a billionaire.
I mean,
sis doesn't seem very credible, you know?
Yeah.
She doesn't seem credible. Maybe she's got 99.99 I don't know what the number is before $1 billion.
This is not a math podcast, okay? I think I'm not even gonna attempt it. I think if you're gonna be a liar, I want you to go all out. I want you to be Anna Delvey. I want you to have like a whole fucking fake accent persona. Honestly, like, it's just like, I think if you're gonna be evil, Loretta, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, you have to be interesting. You can't be evil and boring. That is
it's true.
Like, that's one of my hardest like limits. I have evil people in my life, but if they're boring on top of that, I'm like, why? Absolutely not. But if you're interesting and if you keep me guessing, I'm like, okay, we'll see what's going on here. But no, honestly, Amy, we have an eye out for you. We want to know what's going to happen, and we'll bring this back, because obviously this is going to go into trial, so we won't know what happens for a long time. But I'm very excited.
Do you know what we're going to do? This is what we're going to do. We are going to wait until the Netflix miniseries comes out. We're going to wait until the Netflix miniseries comes out, and then we're going to smoke a cigarette, because cigarettes are life. I wanted to talk a little bit about why I think smoking is the best thing in the whole wide world. Listen, I don't smoke anymore. I don't smoke.
Okay.
Anymore.
Okay.
And when I did, and I wasn't a crazy, listen, I'm European, I'm Northern European, we love a cigarette, baby.
Of course.
And I mean, and let me tell you something as well. I don't know if it's a similar culture in Canada or Colombia, but if you're a social smoker, people don't consider you to be a smoker. Whereas I think you're a smoker.
No,
like,
I wouldn't think. If you're a social smoker, you're not a smoker. For
me, you're a smoker because either you do it or you don't. Either you're against it or you're not.
Fair.
Don't be shaming me for my little ciggy break at my lunch break when you out there with a vodka and coke, huffing and puffing like a chain smoker. Never, ever, please.
Fair.
You one or the other. And so, and I wasn't a heavy smoker. I smoked like a couple of cigarettes a day. Cigarettes got expensive. I started rolling my own tobacco because that's super chic. It's very French.
Right.
You know, it's very me. And it was some of the happiest memories of my life was smoking.
I hate that that's true. I hate it.
Like, I could never smoke a cigarette. Life could never be worse smoking a cigarette. Like, literally ever. Like, ever. And I know that there are some long-term issues to smoking. There are all sorts.
Girl. I'm holding on to my chair.
There's
trying
many,
to not
plenty.
yell through this whole conversation. Yes.
There's plenty. But when I'll tell you, let me advocate for cigarettes just for a second, which is crazy what I'm about to say. If you smoke cigarettes, you're less likely to be overweight because it suppresses your appetite. If you smoke cigarettes, research has shown you are less likely to have any knee problems ever in your life. And finally, knee, like rodilla.
The fuck? Okay.
You're less likely to have knee problems if you smoke cigarettes. And third of all, cigarettes actually reduces your anxiety. So, and when I tell you, when I quit smoking cigarettes, I have never felt anxiety like that in my life. Not just as I was
the anxiety,
quitting.
the knees, and the weight just
honestly
barreling at me.
Listen, I was skinny as a twig, you know. I was
fuck.
And let me tell you something. When I quit smoking, that first kind of phase afterwards, I was like, okay, I'm feeling a bit anxious, sure. The anxiety then stayed forever.
I hate that.
So, like, I think we should just smoke again. I know you've never smoked, right? Like, I feel like you should pick it up.
No. I was a smoker.
You were?
Yeah. No, Loretta. Okay, I will share my personal thoughts and life story with this. I was never a smoker in terms of like smoking several a day. However, since you're saying that you can't be a social smoker, I'm gonna call myself a smoker. First of all, my dad was a big smoker. Growing up, I was very comfortable with the smell of smoke. I love the smell of cigarettes. I love walking past someone that's smoking and just kind of like just having like a little inhale. That was amazing. Then, you know, as I grew and I started like going out and partying and drinking, I was, you know, classic. Loretta, the same way that I love the little like hand grabbing and dragging through the bar on like a crowded drunk night. I love that so much. I love getting like pulled through the people in the crowd. The little like, do you want to step out to smoke? Fuck! I love that shit so much.
It's amazing.
Oh my, it's the best. It's the best. And like in Canada, especially like in the winter, and you're putting like your little like coat on and you're like freezing, but you're huddling together. He's putting his arm around you while you have the cigarette, and then you know you're gonna make out for show. So it's amazing. I love the whole kind of like allure of it, right? Again, I never carried my own cigarettes. I was always a social smoker. I loved it. Great. Last year, my dad got sick of cancer. Now I fucking hate cigarettes. The type of cancer, my dad is fully recovered. Thank God, everything's okay. But the type of cancer that my dad had is directly related to smokers. And so now I hate it. And I did a 180. And it's so in me now that like, I don't even like walking past smokers and smelling the smoke. Like it makes me angry. Loretta, it was like a 180, 100% changed how I felt about it. I don't like smokers. If I, you know, see that a guy's smoking, that makes him less attractive.
Really?
Just the whole, everything we went through with like my dad's disease was so traumatic for me that I despise cigarettes now. And even like, I'll be watching a movie, you know, I'm watching Mad Men right now. I'm like rewatching Mad Men. All I do is drink and smoke. And like, it's so good. And they're so hot, you know, like with the like cigarette in them. And I'm like, I get, because I'm rewatching it, I get how I used to feel about them the first time around. Now I see it and I'm just like, fuck, put it out, have your drink, but like, don't smoke it. However, smoking versus vaping, smoking 100%. fuck
Yeah,
vaping
yes,
is
yes.
it's so lame to me. I'm sorry.
No,
I
it
have so many
is.
friends that
No, you're
vape,
right.
but it looks so pathetic that you're sucking on a USB stick.
Not you calling your
I
friends
hate
pathetic.
it. I love you guys. I love you. You're the apple of my eye. When you bring out your vape, I'm like, oh fuck, this is so stupid. I'm sorry.
No, it's true because so I don't know if you saw the Vanity Fair cover. I think it was Vanity Fair. It literally could have been something else. With Kylie Jenner, she's on the cover,
No, I'm not
topless,
aware. Okay.
smoking. And I saw a podcast literally yesterday that said smoking's back in. Smoking cigarettes is back in. Apparently last year with the younger generation, like people in their early 20s, like late teens, early 20s, vaping became, you vape, you're a loser. That's what vaping became. And so they've gone back to traditional cigarettes. And on the
And I
podcast,
have
they
to
were
agree.
complaining about, yes, but on the podcast, they were complaining about, you don't understand how disgusting smoking is. Like everything literally stinks of
Right.
cigarettes, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Now, I will probably never smoke again. And when I quit smoking, I quit completely. If I'm drunk, I'm
Right.
not going to smoke. I'm not smoking shisha. I'm not hitting up your
Oh,
vape.
yeah.
I'm not smoking weed. Because I think if you're going to do something, do it right. You know?
All the way.
'Cause
Okay,
find that especially-
I have weed in a different category, I would have to say.
Fine. But that just
Yeah.
for me, I think I'm just like, don't tease yourself down a slippery slope of
Totally.
what has been an addiction for you before. And I wasn't even like, I have friends who were smoking 20 cigarettes a day. Those were
No,
the
for
smokers.
sure. Like a box a day. Yeah.
Yeah. Those were the smokers. Those guys were smoking. And I, even like when I used to tell people I smoked, like healthcare professionals, they were like, you're not even really a smoker, just quit. And I was like, but those 2 cigarettes a day are so good.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is that I don't know the statistics in Colombia, but in the UK, our statistics are 1 in every 2 people is going to get cancer. That's our statistic now. It's 50% of the population.
Loretta.
Yeah.
I hate this.
Like
I hate
that's
it so much.
Yeah. And so that's why we go so hard for cancer research back in the UK. Like you run in a little 5K, Annie, you are giving that money to Cancer Research UK because
Right.
we are pushing so hard to eradicate it because our statistic went up like quite significantly. It went from 1 in 3 to 1 in 2 in like literally a couple of years.
Oh my God.
But then our smoking levels have gone down. And this is where I also want to advocate for smoking one last time.
Stop.
Is that I want to advocate for smoking. And I'm not advocating for smoking. I myself don't smoke, right? No one should smoke. It's horrible for you. I mean, from the life pleasure side of smoking, do it. Any other side of it, smoking is terrible. But one last advocation for smoking is that, for example, in the UK, we are pushed so much. Oh my God, do not smoke. You're going to die. You're going to get, something's going to happen to you. It's going to be horrible. Whereas in France, where I used to live, people do not push people to quit smoking at all.
Okay.
It's kind of like, oh, you smoke. And listen, their numbers have come down significantly to the point where when you walk into the metro, there's literally ashtrays at the entrance of the metro so you can put out your cigarette because they know that you're smoking. And you can't smoke in public places anymore and things like that. But Annie, France has a higher life expectancy than Colombia, than the US, than the UK.
That's true.
Because I think they focus on other things. They're like, listen, you're going to smoke, okay. That might get you. But do you know what will probably also get you? Poor quality of life, poor diet.
Well, you know, my dad's
stressed.
oncologist, and I will say this also allegedly in case he doesn't want to be quoted by me on a non-research podcast.
Yeah.
When we were talking about like the things that he was allowed to do and not do anymore, we talked about like many things, and one of the things that came up was alcohol, right? And he was telling him that no level of alcohol is healthy. He's like, I can't, in like good judgment, say that. Well, if you just have a glass of wine, if you just do this, no, there's like no level of alcohol is actually considered healthy. However, he was like, social life in Colombia, a lot of it revolves around alcohol, and he was like, I'd rather you have a social life and consume alcohol than not have a social life, because there's all of these other statistics as well about like loneliness and about like not being in a community that so deeply affect your health, that he was like, I mean, don't be a fucking alcoholic, like don't be drunk, but like
please,
you're gonna have a couple of drinks, enjoy them. So I think maybe like what you're saying with like the France thing is a little bit down that line as well, like you belong to like this whole like world community life, all of these things. and maybe you're having a few cigarettes, then by all means, still I fucking hate them, and I will say that on the record. But at least it's not vaping, which is
At
so
least.
lame.
Honestly,
Which is
at
so
least.
lame.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I've been noticing. Have you watched Thank You for Smoking?
No, never. I've never even heard of it. What is that?
Oh my God. It's a great movie. I love it. I want to say it's like early 2000s, maybe like close to 2010. It's a movie where they talk about like the lobbying of smoking. And, the kind of like main people in the lobby is they have like the NRA. I think maybe the other one. Yeah, I don't know. Guns, smoking, and maybe alcohol, but I'm not that sure.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like a comedic take on how these people lobby for these things. But it was very like part of like the story is how they start putting it back into the movies. And recently, because they want to make it cool, right? Like they want people to like smoking, and so how much do you have to pay for like George Clooney to hold a cigarette in his hand and to make it very like aspirational? Recently, I've been noticing smoking again a lot in movies. And I've thought about it. I wish that I would have mentioned it out loud, but I've noticed it again and again. And I'm like, okay, is this like because it's like historically accurate? Is this because it's culturally accurate? Like, why are we noticing cigarettes? Like, why am I noticing cigarettes again so much? And now with Kylie's article, I wonder if she's also part of this. Like, I wonder if there's like a bit of like a media lobby push towards cigarettes again.
I think so. I do think so. So someone said that perhaps Kylie's blowing her cigarettes onto Timmy, which is why he's been making so many fumbles lately.
Which, if you'd like to refer back to our 4th episode, we have some thoughts on.
He's been making some big mistakes lately. But I worry about smoking, and I worry about what that links into from a wider sense. Like, listen, I've advocated for smoking in so many different ways in the last like 10 minutes, but I don't do it. There's a reason why I stopped. And the reason why I stopped, Annie, is because you hear about some people, you hear about like, I don't know, like an abuelinda or an abuelindo who's been smoking for 70 years and they live to their 100. God will make an example.
Never heard the word abuelindo.
Never.
What is this?
No, like an abuelinda. No.
Like a cute grandma.
Yeah. It's like, I think I got the word from Las Pasiones de Gavilanes. I think I got it from there. I think it's a word from Bojaca.
Maybe that's so funny. I'd never heard it. I mean, I know abuelita, of course, but abuelita?
No, it's so cute. I'm gonna find the episode. I'm gonna send it to you afterwards. But like,
obsessed. Okay.
But you'll get someone who's like 100 who smoked their whole life, doing their greatest. But I quit because I knew God will make an example of me. Like, I will get an illness.
I'm not about to let it happen.
No. I'll get an illness and I'm gonna die. That's the thing that's gonna happen. Like, I won't just go through something and I'll be tougher for it. I'm not gonna make it.
No, and like to your point, my abuelindo, I suppose, my grandpa smoked until the day he died, and he was 91, right? My dad, on the other hand, quit like 20 years ago, right? But like he was smoking since he was like 13, so like he ended up smoking for like 40 years by the time he quit. I don't think the math is right. Again, this is not a math podcast, you guys. When I'm talking, I can't think and talk at the same time, as you might have noticed by listening to everything I have to say. But yeah, anyway, so I think he had been smoking for like 40 years, and then by the time he quit, like it's been many, many years now. And unfortunately, like, he got sick. And again, he's fine now, thank God. I always have to say it. I always have to like knock on wood. I always like, it gives me heebie-jeebies to even talk about it. No, but I think it's good that you quit regardless, Loretta. Like I still think it's cool. If I'm eating a barquillo, like one of those little like wafer little, I hold it like a cigarette. I think it's like there's nothing cooler than holding a cigarette like
the wafers.
Shape. Yeah, the little, you know which ones I'm talking about? The ones that are like straws, but like made of wafer or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm smoking it. I'm smoking like I'm putting it. It gives me something. I feel something when I do that.
No, why is that me?
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
I do the I do the wafers from De Uno. I buy mine from De Uno.
Oh my God, but so good. Hazelnut, fuck, they're so amazing. And if I picture a conversation many times, I'm just kind of like, like I'm cool. I'm cool through the conversation because I'm holding a little cigarette while I say what I have to say. But you know what? It has to remain an imaginary or wafer cigarette. But can you call me later?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hello? No, pero llámame ya.